Right, fourth game, fourth draft. We have to see if Fnatic can bounce back and close this one out, or Tricked are going to continue their reverse sweeps. I just saw Denvox and they tweet 1 out of 3 B word. So I think he's feeling pretty confident coming into this. Don't worry, Goobug, you'll work it out eventually. So yeah, I think he's clearly feeling pretty confident, and hopefully Tricked are in that hyped up mentality. They're going to ban the Varus again. This seems like it was the key from the very get-go. Fnatic have chosen blue side for this draft, obviously because they previously just lost out, and we'll see where this is going to end up with that first pick being so pivotal. I mean, we felt like the what did Fnatic actually first pick last time, right? It wasn't the Zinzao, was it? Because that guy went through to second rotation.
Yeah, Aphelios. They just locked the Aphelios, and they tried to build that front-to-back composition. I think the only thing they were missing was a mage mid to sort of manipulate the waves, be able to create that distance that they needed, so on and so forth. So if Fnatic right here honestly want to run it back, I'll be pretty fine with that. I think they lack the execution and the range, and they can fix that into this draft. If they feel like they want to take the Mundo for themselves, they can also do that too. But I feel like the Zinza worked wonderful for them, and Tricked might have to actually ban it out here, and they won't. So the Zinza is still up for grabs. He went 3-0 10 minutes into the game, and I feel that one thing that would very well complement him would be a mage mid, and we'll see if Fnatic will just go for it here.
So it's going to be interesting now, because we're in a situation where, as you already established, this Insao as well, but with this Lulu hub as well, is something that
I'm losing my mind!
Okay, so we have a lot of adaptability in this series right now, but crucially, once again, the Thresh has gone through. You can argue that the first series, or the first game rather, with Lucky on the Thresh, did not go as planned and really did what he was supposed to do. But here in the second game, he really did a good job at facilitating Vox and keeping that lantern safety net for him. So I think you go for the Thresh again here. You can opt into a jungler as well now if you want to yourself. You can go for the Zinzao if you want to into the Trundle. But there is still the Viego option as well.
We'll see. Tricked. If they go for the Zinzao, it's a very strong early draft phase here on the red side with that Thresh power pick. I'd love to see what Trouble was talking about, was like, if you're going into a Thresh, why not just throw in something like the Nautilus, throw in something that can have like that engaged potential in its own right. Don't really think the Braum worked. I mean, the Braum was terrible for Fnatic. It just constantly soaked hooks and really wasn't actually absorbing enough damage to really be relevant. So I'm interested to see whether Fnatic change their strategy up versus this Thresh this time round. It will be the Zinzao locked in though for Taxa. And now Fnatic have to respond, and they go for the Ashe. So that is a lock-in of the Ashe.
Blitzcrank is pretty good into the Thresh, but they're going for the heavy CC lock bot lane. I'm scratching my head a little bit because I can think of so many more ADCs that have higher prio, or they're above a tier from Ashe, but I feel like there's a bunch of CC on the side of Fnatic Rising. There's a bunch of range that they can play with the pillars and with the volleys. And again, I feel like the key here would most likely be a mage in the hands of Deo.
Yeah, and I think now on the AD carry, you just go for the what's it called, the Caitlyn again here. You have a lot of range to play with. It should be relatively safe if those plays does cancel the Zenith play this time around. So looking at the bot lane, they should have priority again. Double ranged into one range to melee. It's Caitlyn as well. Super easy to actually outpoke your opponent and keep them at bay. So now we're heading into the second ban phase. And on Trick cost, they've banned Twisted Faith every time at this instance. And they'll opt into it again. Last time around, they banned the Camille. Renekton is also a champion they can try and remove if that's rather something they would do. And then they can fourth pick the Mundo again. So I'm wondering now, Fnatic, are they looking at the Mundo pick as a champion that they don't want Trick to play now? That's my question for the second ban phase.
I feel like just because the Trundle has been locked in, they might overlook the Mundo, but it definitely is something that Leona and Ashe can deal with much easier than what they had before, because Leona has 3 spells that can break the shield, and then Ashe can apply slow upon slow upon slow, and when the subjugate goes down, that works like that as well. So again, Fnatic Rising are removing a lot of the options that they should have gotten last game together with the Zinzao. Now they're removing them from the side of Tricked. I wouldn't be surprised even if we saw something like the Victor potentially being banned out here, or the Rise, the LeBlanc too, yeah.
I'm interested why we saw Kennen banned in the first game, and then no one's even considered Kennen beyond that. Obviously, Pride had an absolutely bonkers Kennen game in the Singularity best of 5 earlier this week. So I'm wondering whether there's an element that Kennen could be relatively useful here, especially if you're looking for like a flank engage tool. I literally just talked. Yeah, there we go.
I was gonna say, I think that's a really good shout. It's a really good shout because either they forfeit the cannon or Pride will just have it and they use it as their own CC bot as well towards the top side. So they kind of put the pressure on Trick there by saying, well, we banned cannon in the last time around. This time around, either you pick it or we will get it ourselves. So now they have the cannon for themselves in that instance, and it's up to Fnatic now to either find that counter matchup. There aren't that many left, with the Jace also being one of the most heaviest counter matchups you get into the cannon. So it looks like they're gonna opt in for a tag towards the top side of the map, and then they'll play for the mid and bottom part of it.
You could very easily go for something like a Gragas or a Mordekaiser to completely nullify the threat of Kennen and throw him out. Now, this is kind of scary because Dion is clearly going to play weak side right here. And then you have no way of getting the Kennen out of your team if he sticks and he does find a flank. So Fnatic are going to have to be absolutely spot on with how they use their vision. And again, they've gone with a very heavy melee team like they did in the previous game. Of course, now Akali having a little bit more sleepy slidey around the map than Sylas does, but still it does struggle. And I think the Lulu will completely handicap a champion like Akali when she wants to dive in. So I think Tricked have found their fire with the previous draft. It's been ignited and it keeps going really strong here.
I'm not gonna lie, I really love the way Trick's comp function into Fnatic's comp. That Akali pick, I'm struggling to see how it's going to find its value. If you dive in, disengage into Sao, Lucky's going to help then Vox in the reposition with Dark Passage and Flare as well. There's the slicing Maelstrom if you go too far forward. From the side of Fnatic, you have clear indication of where your strength is. You have a lot of team fighting pick potential, but it's about finding the pick and getting ahead of the curve as well, finding someone to play for. Because if you just fall behind against strict esports comp here, they actually have a lot of stuff to disengage with. But Fnatic, very easy to execute. If they get ahead, they have the power in their comp to just put pedal to the metal and go for picks and asides if they want to.
I feel like it's impossible to, like Trouble mentioned it feels really bad to play Akali into this matchup though, like unless you are ahead. Like it's one of those things that it's going to feel pretty bad. I almost feel like if you just drafted like a more like traditional control mage, you could have played like strict front to back with that comp, but maybe it wouldn't have worked. I don't know. Like it's just one of those things I think we have to see. Again, Dejo I think has a lot of pressure on his shoulders in a pretty important game, and I agree with you, Gulbug. I really love this tricked comp. I think this tricked comp is really awesome. I think it's very well thought out. It's Devoxney in his prime with plenty of protection as well. So we'll see. Maybe he makes it 2 out of 3 with this game. We're going into our 4th one of the series. Hitbrain and Orcs ready to take it away. Let's jump in.
Thank you very much, Scoundrel. I think the one thing I want to hit on is exactly what Gulborg hit on. Fnatic, they need to get ahead of the curve because I think if they do fall behind, we saw what Denvoxy could do late game. This time he's got a Lulu buffing him up. This time he has a Kennen knocking everyone in place. He still has the Thresh to make sure he's safe. So if Fnatic don't get ahead, I think it's going to be very hard for them to, find a way back into this game. However, he did also say ease of execution. I look at that Fnatic comp, I look at that Trick comp and I go, well, Fnatic just have to press R on like 3 members, and that's enough for a good team fight if Trick's positioned badly.
The problem is I can see so many scenarios where, let's say Madly gets a flank on a Bean and Bean dies. How do Fnatic win a fight, right? Unless they're like really far ahead. The thing is, like, when you're up against something like a Lulu, having a low number of damage threats is really bad because you just simply won't have the damage to cut through, Taxa buffed by Lulu.
Yeah.
I really need to see they all have a series defining game. Bean needs to have perfect positioning, and Maxi critically needs to start off really strong. But the problem is, right, mid lane, Akali's just going to be bullied on the tower. Lulu's a really strong lane bully. You're going to be shoved on the tower. You're going to be really picked on. And as a result, you're not going to have that mid laner who can lean into you and help you give you assistance. Whereas Taxa can basically just do whatever he wants. Right? And I know that the Trundle does really well into the Xin Zhao in terms of dueling, but with Paulson backing up Taxa, it completely changes that dynamic. Yeah. And I struggle to see what the bot lane of Fnatic Rising does because Devoxy has cleanse, you have the Thresh to disengage. There's windows. We saw that in the game 1. So if Trick just misplay or Fnatic Rising outplay, we can potentially see something. But for the most part, I think I just struggle to see Fnatic Rising maybe finding the momentum. It needs to be a really good early game plan, and it needs to come down to them finding those advantages.
I think also when you want to talk about lane priority, top lane's probably going to be pretty madly favored if we're going to be honest. So the question is Maxi's options are probably bot lane,
You know, honestly, I'm not sure how favored Madly it is because I think because Pride's so tanky. Once he gets like level 3, he can just kind of like focus the wave. And Madly, the thing that took Kennen out of the meta as a top laner was they nerfed his base AD, so his pushing power is actually kind of weak. I think the thing is, and he doesn't actually do that. Like this is a Ornn with Doran's shield, so like he can kind of just withstand things. Like Kennen with the Doran's blade has 64 AD, just leveled up, it's now 67. But like obviously level 1 you have the range advantage, but I think it eventually gets to the point where Pride can kind of just like play the way with his abilities.
Yeah, just shake it off. Okay, interesting. Well, Maxi does want to see if he can play around this bottom side, making his way over. If a Zenith Blade lands onto... I actually think Lucky is a good target here. And just not enough. Rux not going to be able to hit it. They may wait for the cooldowns to come back around because, again, they still don't have that full vision. But the time being wasted here could be pretty substantial as Maxi's making his way forward. They've got the pillar. They've got the lockdown. They're looking for Lucky. Double teleports have been used. Bean's already ignited. Taxa trying to jump into the fight as then Voxy's being chased down. Maxi secures first blood. Here comes Dayor. Can he flash forward? Can he get the kill? The shielding's huge as Taxa finds the knock-up. But Taxa will be burning load. Bean finds the kill. Fnatic fire on all cylinders in the bot side.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we're talking about. If you find the outplay with the Leona and the Ashe, and again, the Trundle is really strong in these situations. We said around mid, right? Lulu's going to have priority. It means Dayor's not going to be able to assist. But in this bot lane TP situation, it's not really down to that. So the fight kicks off. They look for Lucky initially. He's able to get some distance, but Devoxnate ends up in a really horrible position. He goes down, and only now does Paulson arrive. And at this point, you remember down, you've already lost the skirmish. So the fact that Lulu has priority, the fact that Lulu is so much more impactful than Akali early game, just didn't come up in that skirmish. And that's why it went Fnatic favored.
And I think if you trick, the one thing you can be happy with is at least one of those kills didn't go to Dayor on the Akali. Do not want that thing snowballing. So you've got that to work with. You can happy with the fact that, you know, there isn't an incredibly, you know, early started Akali, but
a big thing is
that gold is nice.
Yeah, and Dayor actually gets a fair bit of an XP lead. You can see Pulsar now have to play the lane a bit more defensive. And that's a scary thing, because the whole point of picking Lulu into the Akali is you shut her down. You want to shut her out the game completely.
Now, Rux almost fun Demvoxney. Gonna spot out this ward, and Fnatic, it's very clear that they have a game plan. Shut Demvoxney down, enable Bean to take over the game.
Yeah, and I think the fact that Devoxnay has cleansed and is maintaining a big distance, this is kind of a rough lane position for your support not to be here, because if left unchecked, he's just going to push in to Fnatic, and then if Devoxnay is not able to crash, he'll be denied a lot of minions. But he was able to navigate that one. They were a bit cautious about engaging onto him because they didn't know where Thresh and Zinzao were, and then Lucky turns up, and now he can safely sort of push up. Bean does have the red buff, but I don't think it's too much of a concern.
Yeah, I think that's just going to give Bean a bit of sustain from some of the light poke from Demboxing is going to be landing on him. So Maxi now making his way forward. There's a pink ward in that bush once again, though. So it's going to be very hard for Maxi to come in. So he's still thinking about it. He's still waiting for an opportunity to do so. They know obviously the flash is down, so Demboxney going to dodge away. Good Lantern. Fnatic.
Wow, where have you seen this before, by the way?
Punish.
Where have you seen this before, Jake? Do you not remember last game where... this threat pick was pretty good at shutting down the engages. Was there a suggestion one of us made around maybe banning that champion?
I'm flabbergasted that the Thresh is actually in this game. I am genuinely shocked. And Fnatic had first pick as well. They went for, I believe they went for the Trundle was their first pick. So prioritizing that over something like the Thresh means then Voxney has to be a little careful as he messed up his nutty count there. But Maxi smites the heal, gets a
heal, by the way.
That was so close.
Yeah, but the heal he gets from his passive as well is really actually insane.
It is pretty bonkers.
You've seen in the side, Taxa invading steals from camps, and this is honestly good to see because I think in that game one of the series, we saw Taxa not really doing too much to counter jungle when he had opportunity. So I'm glad to see a bit of that coming out here. But for now, things kind of chilled out. They all having level 6 means there's a bit more kill pressure. Paulson has to be a bit more careful. And the top lane, you kind of see Prize at that point where Madly can't really damage him, right? And that's the thing with Kennen. You don't play Kennen to like hard win lane. If you do, great. But you pick Kennen because in the team fights, he's just an absolute monster. Yeah. And he will be in this game because there's not too much peel to actually displace him. You know, there's things like Lee Sin Kick, Gragas Barrel, you know, even like the Flay from a Thresh, all really solid tools to displace him. But other than the pillar is actually so vital. That's probably the one thing that's going to slow Madly down, because otherwise he'll just dive in on Bean and yeah, do cannon things.
You see, Rux has moved over towards the mid side to make sure that Paulson gets this wave shoved in, and then Rux can either rotate or reset on his terms. AD carries have been kind of isolated in the bottom side now, as I think the attempts to kill them Voxney haven't really worked out all that well, bar that one kill, and the flash should be coming up somewhat soon as well. So that window they were looking to punish in has slowly closed, to be honest. And Maxi wasted a lot of time going bot side. You can see it's the S deficit is starting to build up between him and Taxa. So it needs to be a bit of a farming game here from Maxi, and stealing camps away from Taxa, pretty great way to do that, as both of these junglers have upgraded their smites at the same time. And the Call of the Forge God's coming in, so Madly flashes away from everything. The knock up, the lockdown, the slicing Maelstrom, as Ignite's being used. Madly locked in place, and they should be able to find the killers. Rux has to flash away, but Pride going oh so low. Now Maxi has to flash, but he's under the tower. What were Fnatic thinking? Taxa gets the kill.
What on earth was that? Honestly, I mean, credit to Madly for sort of repositioning using the ult, but Fnatic completely botched the dive. I mean, Pride had flash as well.
Oh, damn. Can he get it? Gets caught by the hook! Locked in place, and Taxa has gifted another kill. Teleport's coming in, and here comes Pride, looking to find the turnaround of the Taxa. He has got a teleport of his own to back himself up, and now Rux have to be careful. Rux, remember, no flash available to him. Madly's coming in forward, looking to try and find the kills. Lucky has to be a little bit careful here. Pride's pretty tanky, and he's able to flash over the wall to safety. Fnatic kind of just feeding kills over to the side of Tricked here.
Yeah, and a big thing was because Maxi got those extra kills early, it kind of mitigated the goal difference between him and Taxa. Taxa just picked up 2 kills there. He is now really far ahead in this matchup. A little bit worrying. And we've said before, if Fnatic don't get ahead with this composition, they just lose.
The execution on that dive was, once the Call of the Forge got missed, walk away.
The thing is, I actually think it's like the Call of the Forge God misses, but you didn't get tower aggro. But then like he misses with his E, and you know that's the one saving grace is that he didn't get tower aggro here. Otherwise, Pride would be doomed. But then like Madly flashes here. You know, Rux is the one who gets aggro. Rux flashes out very early. He could have taken another hit. Pride dies without being able to flash out, and then Maxi probably should have just flashed for the kill and then ran out. Right? If he flashed over. Why did he flash into this side of the turret? Just so many messy factors. And then here, I mean, I saw this hook come in, and they are still ulted into it. Just really poor execution from Fnatic Rising, which is surprising because we've had really high-level execution in game 1 and 2. Even game 3 was messy, but there's definitely some better moments, but this was just sloppy.
Yeah, incredibly sloppy play there. Dragon spawning up is going to be that mountain dragon, and could be in for either a Cloud or an Ocean Drake in this game. Ocean Drake, honestly, Fnatic might be the best case scenario. And obviously, it's a Cloud versus Cloud, so it's realistically an easy option. But that extra bit of sustain through the shield bow may be enough to save Bean in the later stages.
I don't know if it's
I think Cloud Drake's actually incredibly good for Tricked. Madly, with the amount of movement speed, means he can just make sure that he gets as many people as possible with the slicing Maelstrom.
Yeah, it's actually so good for Kennen.
It's nice for Ashe as well. You can land the Ashe arrow and get that reposition. You obviously have the additional speed as Pride decides to do some building, and that's probably not the best time to be doing that, matey. He's going to get jumped onto, has got the charge as Madly just finds himself an easy kill. Fnatic honestly kind of sleeping in this game number 4. I don't know what's happened.
I mean, it's the script, right? We have to have reverse sweeps in our best of 5s. Be a regular thing throughout the ERLs, mandatory at this point now. You know, we've just seen Tax on the top side. This is an ample opportunity to play for them Voxney, but Lucky's standing by with a lantern. Maxi, I would have loved to see the attempt at the pillar interrupt. But it doesn't come out. Cleanse is there, and actually Maxi's in trouble.
He's almost out of tower aggro, but Maxi will burn down to the Ignite, and Lucky finds the kill. Again, Fnatic overreaching, overstaying, and Tricked heavily punishing them for it. Rux will be dead. He's going to be hooked, and that kill's just going into the pocket of Voxney. Make sure they inject as much gold, and it's the overreach. Fnatic are just desperate to try and find their way into this game to find a way to be relevant. And Tricked are just being spoon-fed golden kills here.
Yeah, it's just this desperation field from Fnatic Rising. They try and force on the bot side. They could have just, zoned their Voxney away, try to deny him some farm, but the thing is the wave was dead anyway, so it's not like you actually missed much. It's very messy, and the fact Tricked are winning on both sides of the map with their composition as well, just a bit of a disaster. But yeah, I mean, try and interrupt the Lantern with the pillar. If it fails, you're not getting him, right? He's got flash, he's got cleanse. It's just not happening, and they overcommit. Pulse and TP's in. Super easy follow-up on a Rux here. I don't even think they needed the ult from the Lulu because Lucky was just lining up the play, but it doesn't even matter at this point. You're so far ahead. And I'm concerned for Fnatic Rising because this game is not looking good. And if they lose this, one away from the reverse sweep.
Yeah. The very thing they did to get here versus Team Singularity. A crushing
That's the price they
first
have to pay.
2 games, and then the reverse sweep. Although I would say the reverse sweep versus Singularity was them reading Singularity very well. Game 3, definitely. Trick played an amazing game there. Game 4, it just feels like Trick are kind of just being handed everything on a silver platter by Fnatic.
But I think you can definitely say that, and I agree to an extent. But also, I think this is where Trick have really flourished, because I think as a team, they have been one who've lent into the later scaling, who've lent into the carries, and have been good at shutting down other teams. And they're not necessarily the most proactive or aggressive team. So,
oh, Ashari does hit.
what a
Looking
hitbox,
for
by the
all
way.
that damage, and that might be just one dead Lulu. The wild growth's huge as they get the solar flare. They get the Zenith blade. There's that damage they need. Cool, the forward shot's coming down and slicing nails. Struck by Madly. That was disgusting. Fnatic unravel a double kill for both the top and the jungle, as Pride is the only one left standing, but he will be locked down by Madly, who will find himself shortly a triple kill. Although Ornn's kind of a assassin apparently, because he is doing some serious damage. There's the ace. Tricked. What a beautiful play.
Yep. Kennen gap. Honestly, this Kennen pick is insane in this game. So many short range carries and that one primary sustained DPS in the Ashe. That all was just disgusting. And Fnatic, they thought they found their window. They went aggressive. They thought they'd found the momentum. But they don't have the tools to disengage this Kennen, right? The only one we really talked about was that Trundle pillar. So we'll see how this plays out. They jump onto the Paulson here, go aggressive. The pillar comes out here, and they've got nothing left to stop this Kennen. Pride actually doesn't connect with the E, flies in, nothing to stop this, absolutely decimates them. And this is kind of going to be the story of the game. Every team fight, I'm looking at Madly, I'm going to see what this Kennen can do, because now he is 5, 1, and 3 off the back of this. Proto Belt and Void Staff in pocket. This Kennen is monstrously fed.
He is going to be doing some disgusting damage in this game now. You can see the gold difference between him and Pride is astronomical. 80 carries. There is a lead for Bean, but it's nothing major. It's nothing but, it's going to completely take over the game. And look at that jungle diff as well. Dayor now has to be very, very careful as Madly making his way forward. Into the Shroud he goes, but they got the ace in the hole. They got the lockdown, and Dayor able to just about survive for now, but Tax is here. You can't take that Lantern, Dayor. Madly gifted his 6th kill.
And I love this more proactive play we're seeing from Trick. They have that lead now. They're moving around the map, finding windows. Do you see Fnatic respond with that Herald top? But, first tower's already down. It's not like you're garnering a massive advantage from that. And we'll see Trick trade off on the other side. Madly's coming up to defend. He has a slicing Maelstrom.
I don't think he's going to be able to defend that tower, unfortunately. So Trick do lose out on that tower. Voxney will get solo tower for himself on the bottom side of the map as well in response. So teleporting back into the mid lane here by Dayor just to make sure that this tower doesn't go down. They are able to hold the mid lane, because this was a kind of big thing for Fnatic in that game 3, was they were able to hold onto their mid tower for a very, very long time. Ocean Soul up. And Tricked looking to pick up their first dragon of this game. Rux already losing a third of his health. May just signal Fnatic to step away and try and just focus down this mid lane instead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you win fights at the moment. And it would be nice to get the dragon, but realistically, we already got 2, so it's fine. They are looking mid for this. There's places that Madly could TP from if they really wanted, but I think they're just going to give up the tier 1.
Well, there's the call of the Forge God. They're looking to slam in. The teleports are here, and Bean needs to be very careful because Madly, he's slowed down, but he's got the slicing maelstrom. Bean's locked in place. Bean eats the ace in the hole as the Gale Force forwards from Voxney will secure the kill. Maxi's able to jump away to safety, but Rux is being run down. Madly gets the next kill. Fnatic have been figured out. Tricked have read them like a book, and they're able to find themselves 4 kills and 2 towers.
Tricked are just happy to take any fight. It feels like it's really hard for them to lose at this point, and Fnatic are left wanting 7,000 gold lead now at 17 minutes. And with that Dragon secure as well, they're like a long way away from that soul. You can see here, again, the Kennen TP's in the middle of the team, right? And they can't do anything about it. He doesn't even have flash. He just charges forward and just locks them all down, right? It's not as good as the earlier Kennen we saw, of course, but I think it's just the fact that there are no tools on Fnatic Rising to dissuade this Kennen. There's no one who can really deal with him well. Bean just gets run over consistently. It's so rough.
This is feeling like Fnatic might have to think about game number 5, to be honest. I think 18 minutes in, gold lead.
Oh my god,
it's just an
8-1 Kennen, right?
It's an 8-1 Kennen. Actually, where is that gold lead? I assume most of it is on the Kennen. Oh yeah, most of it's on the Kennen.
Yeah, that's a pretty big gap.
He's got 2 levels.
Yeah. And Kennen scales really well with levels as well, right?
Oh my god.
Extra points in his ultimate, extra points in his W. It's kind of disturbing, honestly. I don't know. I feel like we're just going to get this team fight where... This is my prediction what's going to happen. Fnatic going to find a fight that looks initially favorable for them, and then we see Madly come in and just one hits everyone.
Yeah, that looks like exactly what's about to happen here as Bean has to run away. Madly on that flank. The pillar's pretty big, and they missed everything, so it wouldn't even look good for them at the start. Slicing Maelstrom will get locked down, but Bean is left on his lonesome, so Tax is able to run him down. Then Voxney fighting versus Pride, but Pride can't find the kill, and it's going to be another team fight where Fnatic have just been obliterated. Then Voxney finds the kill. Dayor not even able to join. No teleport available to him, and Fnatic missed everything. They had the fog of war, they had the surprise, and they still missed it.
I think they hit everything. They still don't win that fight. Yeah. I don't think it's yet that we're going to get that team fight where it starts off favorably, but I'm still thinking it's going to come. But for now, again, Trick, just take any fight. They will literally commit to any fight because they know the goal lead's so big, they're so strong, they have such a good team comp. There's just no chance of them losing. Even if, right, somehow Fnatic Rising managed to connect everything onto someone, there's Lantern, there's Locust Shield, there's a Lulu. Even if they do manage to kill, let's say they killed them Voxney, they're still mad they use Hyperfed, they're still Taxa. It's just looking rough. Yeah. Looking rough, and you can kind of see the gold graph in front of you. Big advantage for Tricked, I think is my descriptor.
Rather inflated towards Tricked. As we hit the 20-minute mark, Baron is on the map, and I don't think Fnatic can do a Baron, but I actually think Tricked might be able to do that. Don't think they'll risk it though, because there is still that pick potential on Fnatic, but they find themselves a pick that could be big. 2 items now picked up, and then he's got the Lord Doms. They are going to take the 4th tower for his team. A lot of towers have gone down in this game. They are on this Akali, slowly but surely getting to a point where maybe, just maybe, he can make this Akali work.
He just needs to go from solo killing turrets to solo killing champions. Yeah. And there we go.
Or solo killing Nexuses. That's another win on.
True. Maybe Tricked completely forget bot lane exists for the next 20 minutes and he just kills the Nexus. But most likely that's probably not going to happen. We do have 2 items on Bean though. And remember, the gold lead's massive, but a lot of that is in the top lane.
Look at Rux.
I mean, this is, if you're going to take a fight, this is best case scenario for Fnatic Rising. I'm not saying it's going to be good, but better to fight them when they're in the Baron pit than when they're not.
Yeah, absolutely. But Maxi has to be careful. Here's the call of the Forge God. Pride needs to land it onto multiple people. Only hits the carry. Bean running away. Great pillar goes down. They're all slowed, and Fnatic didn't find their opportunity to punish. And now Rux, it's his turn to feel the wrath of Tricked. As Tricked will take him down. That's going to be Tax's kill. 6 kills on the Xin Zhao. Dragon spawning up, and Fnatic, they tried to punish. I will give them this much. They stepped away at the right time. They did lose their support, sure, but they didn't just overchase that time around.
But it's just like all Trick just run at them. That's all they need to do. They just run at them. And Fnatic Rising like, oh, so I guess we lose. And it's that simple. It's a two-step process. Speed Taxa up, Taxa runs at them, they die. Okay, repeat. That's all they have to do.
Yeah.
So they can like start the Baron, and again, it's kind of a healthy Baron. One of the things you always think about when you're doing a Baron is like, do you have a tank to soak damage? But the fact that you have Taxa, who's quite bulky, and then you have Pulse and shields, that mitigates a lot of the damage. So they can essentially just start it, chill for a bit. Oh, someone's here. We run at them, they die. Repeat, repeat, repeat. And 7,000 gold lead now. You can see again Fnatic Rising fishing in this area, but they will need to clear out these wards. Probably just autoed the Baron instead of the ward.
He's fine. He's pretty chunky. Even though he's 0-5, he's pretty chunky.
No MR though in his build, really.
Yes, interesting. Has decided to be scared of Voxney, who
reducing
is
the value of that void stuff.
They find themselves jumping on onto Taxa. A lot of CC is going to land. They do get the Ash Arrow off. Here's the Call of the Forge God. They find the knock-up. Then Voxney's interrupted. What a play! What a maelstrom! Fnatic are cooked! Triple kill. Picked up onto Taxa. He's going all the way. Bean Shield Boat is popped. And it's the ace for Tricked once again. The base will be soon to follow. Fnatic. They had that ease of execution, but they fumbled it when it counted. It was just an amazing early game from Trick to punish Fnatic.
You know, Jake, that was kind of the fight I was talking about. It didn't really go too well for Fnatic Rising at first, but you definitely saw they were like, oh, we're going to pick on Taxa. Let's try and kill him, blah, blah, blah. And then Madly turns up and just insta-kills them all.
Yeah,
I knew it happened. It's just because the thing is, Fnatic have this pick potential, but if they don't kill a target instantly, which is very hard to do when there's like Lulu Thresh, Cannon turns up. And as soon as Cannon turns up, go next. And I think Fnatic probably are focusing on the next one because it is so difficult for this position. And with a replay, so yeah, they jump on the Xin Zhao. He does survive for a long time. The stopwatch is clutch as well. And then Cannon turns up, but it's like, okay, you're all dead.
Oh, that flay. Even though Voxney wasn't the carry in that fight, he would have died if that flay didn't hit. That was honestly an amazing play.
Yeah, but just Cannon literally madly just flies in and just annihilates everything. It's really, and he's got stopwatch and Zhonya's now as well. And look, I mean, yeah, that's a lot of damage. It was crazy. Is also Taxa's doing so much in these tight knit fights, getting so much damage. We actually got a triple kill in the last fight, which I would call a triple steal, but you know, sheer madly ain't counting.
Look, he's helped set his team up for success. He's earned those kills. And
now it's kind of just finishing things off. I really struggle to see Fnatic Rising how they would take a fight in this situation. It's very difficult. I'm trying to think, but realistically, someone needs to misstep. Someone needs to step too far forwards, or they commit to a dive or something. But even then, the dive is so solid. So we'll just see them slowly look for this. And now Engage coming in.
Call of the Forge God. They need to get it on to Madly. He goes instantly into that stopwatch. Being untouched for the moment. Solar Flare doesn't quite hit. And there's that slicing Maelstrom. Being has to flash away. Madly gets the second stopwatch off. He's going low. They're jumping in for the kill. They can't quite get it. Maxi flashes a grand in his pocket, but not the person you want to get that shutdown. And it means diddly squat, because Tricked have taken everybody else out. A double kill picked up on the Taxa. And it's happening. Every game of the NLC playoffs has gone all the way. We have had maximum games here. 25 minutes on the clock. And Tricked have started a reverse sweep versus Fnatic Rising.
Not even started. They're firmly on the way. One more game and they will claim this title. They would be the first non-academy team to win in the NLC, but they still need that one more. They're in line for that reverse sweep, but they need to hold strong. And honestly, I look at that game and I think draft diff. I think they kind of saw Fnatic hamstrung, right? They needed that early pressure. They needed to win off the back of the trundle, off the back of sort of the strength in the bot lane with the engages. They didn't. And I think going to the next one, ban Thresh, that's a no-brainer. And draft sort of a composition that has more carry threats and isn't like so short range into a cannon. It just feels like these mistakes are coming out and it makes things a little bit difficult. But game 5 is a new one. If they can reset the mental, I think we all know Fnatic are a team who have the experience to do so. They could bounce back.
I think the thing about that game was Fnatic had obviously a game plan. They wanted to punish early, but Trix knew that. They were so aware that was the game plan, and they just played safe and looked for the outplays underneath their towers, while Fnatic kind of fumbled everything there. And then from that point onwards, the game got to the point where Trix went, well, we just win at this point. We're so strong, we just win. Anyway, amazing game there from Trix. We're going to throw to a break, and when we're back, we'll have the analyst desk to talk about game number 4 heading into game number 5. So we'll see you in a moment.